You have questions? We have answers. Welcome to the Therapist Question Box with your host, Miss Lindsay Schiss.
Welcome back to another episode of the Therapist Question Box. We are here to answer your pressing questions. So ask away. Honestly, that is where we get the meat of our content, is through your questions. So write in and ask us. It's all anonymous, and we interview other therapists to really get to the heart and root of your question. Today I have with me Janzen. Janzen, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here.
Janzen's new at Therapy Utah, and happy to have you. I was just saying, what a fun, energetic person you are. I said, you're going to be easy on the podcast because you're actually a great conversationalist. And what did you say?
I don't know. I think I talk too much.
No, you're awesome. So
I felt nervous to come on today. But
really?
Yeah.
Well, that surprises
I felt nervous
me
because I feel like in our team, there's a bunch of rock stars. Like I view everyone as like an all-star, really great at what they do. And everyone has these different specialties. And, I'm just this baby therapist.
Oh.
And so I'm like, well, hopefully I can keep up with all the top dollars.
We actually do have a team of amazing therapists. I agree.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I could recommend any of them to a friend or family, and I do. So yeah, we're lucky to work among amazing people.
Yeah.
And you're one of them. So
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
you're
you.
here. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about you?
Yeah. So my name is Janzen Deans. I am from here in Utah. I grew up in Draper and went to high school, Alta High School, and went to Utah State University for my undergrad.
Go Aggies.
Go Aggies.
I did too.
Absolutely, go Aggies.
Nice.
It's a great school,
It
good
is.
campus to hang out on, make friends. And after I graduated with my undergrad, I worked for a while, eventually decided what I wanted to do, and that was become a therapist. And I took the mental health counseling route. So found a program where I could do a degree in clinical mental health counseling, and I've been doing that through Capella University.
Nice.
And I'll be graduating in March.
Okay.
So,
awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, I want to be done.
Right.
I've been doing school as long as I can remember.
Yeah,
So,
it's time.
yeah.
Good for you. You're almost there. Light at the
Yeah,
end of the tunnel.
exactly.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's cool. Well, today we're asking a big question, and it's one I think so many people deal with, and it's really basic.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, why do people get depressed?
Yeah.
And you said something right when you walked in, and I said, hold that thought. Let's get that on camera. But you said, that's something I've wondered my whole life.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
I've seen depression. Just throughout my entire life, I've grown up around depression. My own mom has struggled with it, and it's something that I didn't really know what it was, but even as a child, I was looking at it. I could hear it. And so just seeing depression in your family firsthand and not really knowing what it is difficult. And then as you grow older, you start to maybe notice those same things in yourself. That's how it ended up for me, is I started to notice depression in myself in high school. And it was just kind of scary. It's kind of scary seeing someone struggle, not knowing what it is, and then you notice yourself falling into those same patterns of just kind of that dark cloud over your head and just not really being your full self. And I was trying to think, like, maybe is this what it feels like? Is this maybe what I'd heard about when people refer to depression? Is this anxiety? And I had to figure all that out as I went from high school and then on an LDS mission. I had to learn about my own mental health. So I'd say from really high school on, I've thought really deeply about what depression is, what it looks like, how we develop or what's caused that depression, all those different things.
Well, you sound like the perfect guest to be here because you have some of your own life experience.
Definitely.
And I think when you have experience that's bred by your own experience that you've actually had, it makes it so much more real. It's you've experienced it. It's different than just reading about it or talking about it. So I appreciate you sharing that. So when we're talking about depression, and you said, you saw it in your mom, you witnessed it, you felt it in yourself.
Yeah.
How did you know it was different than just sadness?
Because it wouldn't go away. Like it started to change my week. It changed my day, my week, my month. And it was just like this constant mood, because when you're sad, sometimes you're like, oh, I'm sad. You can kind of think of X, Y, and Z, why you're sad. And it typically goes away. This mood fades. But with depression, it doesn't seem to go away, no matter some of those things that you're doing to remedy that. So unless you get the right resources, like, you may not be able to beat the depression.
Okay. So I hear that it's when it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It's not, it just continues.
Yeah. Like I would tell someone, imagine like your saddest day that you've ever had, but imagine that like 6 out of 7 days of the week, all day long. So just imagine that sadness despite what you're doing. Like you could be doing fun things with your friends. You could be out on a date. You could be trying to do homework and you just can't. It's the only thing you can think of is just these negative thoughts. Noticing how sad you are, how low energy you are, you just can't really get away from it. And you're doing that day in and day out all day long.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And also, like, literally the word that came to my mind is depressing. Mm-hmm. Like I would imagine it just really.
Yeah.
And it compiles on itself, right? Yeah. Like that kind of low energy, low mood. Even when you're doing something you like, there's this undercurrent of sadness. Mm-hmm. Like I would imagine it just compounds on itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. And a lot of people know something's off, but they don't really know how they got there. Mm-hmm. They just know they're struggling, and then they carry that weight. It's just like wearing a heavy backpack, and they just try their best.
Yeah.
But it's still there.
It's still there. Yeah. So how does it, why do people, would you say, it feels like a cycle, like when you're saying this, that it feeds on itself. Mm-hmm. Like when you're depressed and it continues, that it just gets worse and you think about it. What do you think keeps people stuck in that cycle?
I would say if people isolate. I've seen a lot of people who become depressed for, a variety of reasons. We can talk about reasons in a minute. But I'd say once people do become depressed and that mood is pervasive, if they're isolating or if they're not changing their behavior or their thought patterns, they're likely going to continue to be depressed. So until you do something different or until you use a different resource that maybe you haven't used, like your brain might be beating you in that battle.
Yes. So the cycle continues.
Yeah.
So just today I had a client who is struggling with depression, and he said, I'm not even motivated to do anything about it. Mm-hmm. So what do you say to that when it's like there's not even motivation to be motivated?
Right.
So then you're like you said, the cycle just continues. How do you get that initial motivation to just start or like turn in the direction towards change? Because you're saying like when there's no change, what are you going to do? It's going to stay the same. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of blunt, but you can always tell a client like your only other option if you don't do anything is to stop, to give up. So sometimes that wake up call of being like, well, some people don't do anything about this, and they get to a point where they want to end their life or they fight those urges, the suicidal ideation. So one way you could approach this by saying like, if by not doing anything, that can lead to, a certain outcome. But sometimes
that sounds like tough love, man.
Tough love. Absolutely. And obviously you wouldn't, always want to use that for everybody because you don't know their situation and their personality. But I mean, that is the reality of not doing anything with your depression, is that by not doing anything, you're actually drifting further and further down that well, so to speak. But I would say that there's beauty if you want to help someone be motivated to just do something about this depression, to just find the power in baby steps. You're not going to change everything overnight. You're not probably going to change it over the course of a week, but there's a lot of power in baby steps. Like today, I got out my journal. I wrote one thing in my journal. That's a win. You did something. You did something that you knew would be maybe difficult. You did something that would cause you to just think about anything but your sadness and depression. I went to the gym. I didn't go as long as I wanted to go today, but I was in the gym for 20 minutes. Okay, well, that's a win as well. I unloaded the dishwasher. Even these simple things that a lot of us do, just the mundane tasks around the house, can also be a win if you've been battling severe depression. Because again, it's the idea like, I don't want to do anything. Mm-hmm. I'm not in the mood, or those things sound like they'll take too much energy. Or what if I mess up when I do those things? Well, just do them. Just do those baby steps and we'll see how you feel after you do it.
I love that.
And it can also, like you said, compounding. We talked earlier about compounding. Maybe those tasks and accomplishing those things can compound to the point where you convince yourself, hey, I can do a few things despite my depression. I've done now 5 tasks that I knew would be difficult, but I've done them in the day. Let me keep going. Let me keep working.
Do you think that changes the depression? Like, do you think that starts to change your relationship? Like, oh, I trust myself. I actually do something. I say I'm going to do it, and I do it. And I followed through. And it was writing one sentence in my journal, but at least I did it. Right? I just think there's a part too that we we start to say, you know what, I can't do anything and I don't follow through and I can't do this or that because of my depression. And we kind of use this, and I want to be really cautious to say it's not a crutch, but I think it's our reason for saying I can't or I won't or I don't want to. Instead of, I mean, I'm hearing you say, let's flip it on its head and let's just say, well, you did one thing and you just started, and that could change the trajectory of the path.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of momentum that can be gained just through activity, because if you're accomplishing all these tasks at a certain point, you're going to begin to look at yourself and say, wow, I did more than I thought. So then it becomes this theme of your self-worth. You're building your own self-worth because you look back at what you've accomplished. So even if you don't believe in yourself as you start this journey of, I got to do all these different things in order to get out of this funk, if you keep doing those things, you'll eventually look at yourself and go, wow, but I got these things done and I feel different now. So I would say, if you're completely stuck, just do something. Do something that you know will lead to relief, or just something that needs to get done, so that you can be proud of yourself for checking off one task.
So what if they do that thing, but still feel like crap?
And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I did the thing. Right. All right, here I am, still depressed.
Yeah.
And I did the next thing and I still feel depressed. Like, how's that going to help? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say at that point, then it's probably best to reach out to a professional.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, while you're waiting for that first session with your therapist, reach out to your friends, reach out to church members, whoever's in your tight circle. Communicate that it's getting hard. I know it can be hard to express and verbalize what your depression is like, especially if you're a man. I represent, all men. It can be really hard to talk about being depressed or suspecting that you're depressed.
Why do you feel it's different for a man, just really quickly?
Because we're told to get stuff done, and that people maybe wouldn't care about your feelings. We're seen as like the warriors, the workers, the servicemen, fixers. And so why would our feelings matter? I think a lot of men have bought into that societal narrative that your feelings don't matter, and namely depression. If you're depressed, either get feeling better or keep working. Like, we don't care that you're depressed.
Yeah. Like, just
your worth may be tied to what you achieve or to what you can produce.
So pull up those bootstraps and shove that down.
Yeah. So it's I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for men, because I think a lot of men still buy into that notion that, okay, I'm depressed, but I shouldn't be. Whereas I would say, no, you have plenty of reason to be depressed. Yeah. Anyone in your position would be.
Yeah.
And it's okay to admit that you are.
And there's so much value in just admitting it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you said isolation, it just grows in isolation, right? I feel depressed, so I isolate. Then when I isolate, I feel more depressed.
Right.
And it just continues on, right? And I feel shameful because I can't get the crap done I want to, and right, all those things. So I have a quick question about that. Do you think there are myths? You said that societally, that we kind of look at men and say, yeah, you can't do that. We don't talk about feelings, right?
Right.
We don't talk about Bruno. That's what came to my mind. Like, we don't talk about that. Come on, let's not do that. But what do you wish people understood better about depression? Is there anything that comes to your mind?
Yeah, I'd say the most tender thing that I can think of with noticing or seeing someone that has depression is that they just want to be seen for where they're at. They want someone to believe that it's hard. Even in my own experiences, when you are reaching out to someone and telling them that you're going through a hard time, or that you are experiencing the depression, you just want someone to be able to take that, listen, take it for what it is, and just sit with it. Whether it's the two of you, and just have it seen out there and just sit with it.
It's so interesting that you said that you didn't say, like, try to help, try to fix it, try to make it better. Yeah. It's like, just sit with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to absorb it with love, with a big heart, and just listen to hear what that's like for them.
Yeah.
Because we may not like the depression if our family members, if our friends are depressed, and that's good to not take sides with it, but we need to understand it, because the person and the depression at this point are kind of in the cage fighting. And so in order to understand the depression, we need to understand the person, because they're kind of going at this together.
Yeah.
And so I say just listen and give them space to tell their story.
I just want to emphasize what you just said. I think we cannot emphasize enough how sitting with people in their pain, how profoundly healing that can be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think sometimes we think, oh, in order to add value, we've got to solve, or we have to try to fix, or we've got to try. But no, just sitting and witnessing someone's pain is incredibly healing.
Exactly.
And part of that, though, it's a little bit tricky because we have to sit in it and it maybe feel uncomfortable for the person listening,
right.
the person sitting in it with the depressed person. Mm-hmm. So we have to be okay to sit in some of that discomfort. Would you agree?
Right. And I'd say a lot of us are not good at that.
Amen.
A lot of us don't know how to handle ourselves when someone is revealing how depressed they are.
100%. Why do you think that is?
I think it's uncomfortable. Maybe we didn't expect them to share what they just shared. Maybe we've been noticing that person's been masking, meaning they've been hiding their depression. And so because we know this person so well, we think, really? Are you really that depressed? You've seemed so happy. You've been at work. You've been doing all these things. I would have never guessed. And so there's this level of almost shock or disbelief.
Yeah. And you know, I do think there's a difference when I think of like the two things we see as a therapist the most, I would say anxiety, depression, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And then we have lots of things underneath those. But I think anxiety is different because anxiety socially is a little bit more, I don't want to say respected, but people are more okay with it.
Yeah.
Because anxiety means you're productive and your brain's moving and you're going, and depression's like, wait, you're not productive and you can't get things done and you're not motivated.
Right.
Like our society really values productivity.
Exactly.
It really values hurry and hustle. And I think anxiety can feel sometimes synonymous with that, whereas depression is actually the opposite of that.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's the case, but I wonder if that's where some of the social stigma comes with depression and maybe a little less with anxiety. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I when I think of depression and when I was learning about it when I was much younger, it has this connotation that the person must be broken or that something went wrong. Whereas with anxiety, I think it's just like related to stress where they're worrying, it's fear. But I think it goes even deeper where it ties into the person's character and how they are perceiving the world. And so I think that there's a sense when we think about a depressed person, a lot of us view them as broken.
Totally. That makes so much sense. So what would you say to someone who's listening today and it's like, I'm depressed. Yep, I'm that person. I don't have motivation to even take that first step. What would you say to them? Like, what would you say to that person?
I mean, the first thing I would say is that you're not alone. I guarantee there's someone that understands
Amen.
a portion of what you're going through. We'll never know exactly.
And that, by the way, is a big deal, that you're not alone. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not alone. There's so many of us that feel like underdogs in life. There's so many of us that are yearning for more, that want to feel better. But we keep going. We keep going. We talk to our community. We talk to the people in our inner circle, and we find ways to get out of that hole.
I love that. Find ways to get out of the hole and recognizing you're not alone.
Yeah, never.
Never alone.
Yeah, because people love you no matter how you're feeling. So even if you're feeling more sad than you think you should be feeling, people are still going to love you even if you're not yourself.
Yeah.
Because they know that you can return to that state that you weren't before.
Yeah.
So they're going to help bring you up to where you were.
And I also think it actually adds a level of vulnerability and humanity because probably the person you're telling has experienced depressive feelings before, maybe not full on depression, but can relate like, oh yeah, I've had some of that before too. It's amazing when you share some of your innermost, your heart, I want to say secrets, but just the pains of our heart, when you share it and it is seen and witnessed. And, I think it's healing not just for the person sharing, but also for the receiver.
Yeah.
Because you're being a trusted friend, you're being, and also you probably see some of that in yourself too.
Right.
And you go, okay, I'm a little less alone here too.
Right.
So it's helpful for everyone.
We're all broken to some degree.
Yep.
There may be versions of us that are broken that really, it's a severe crisis, but we all have pieces of us that aren't going to be operating 100%. And I think when you hear someone have a struggle, everyone's going to have a struggle that can be identified to another struggle.
Yep. It's
just the core part of going about this life in an imperfect world.
Amen. So tell me, what would be a practical tool, a small step? Just why don't you throw out a few things that you can give to our listeners that they could take, maybe just one thing. What would it look like to do that might be a step in that right direction?
Yeah, so when I think about one who has become depressed, whether it's a full-blown disorder, whatever it is, it's typically, in my experience, caused by three main things. And there's lots that can be caused, but there's three categories. And so a lot of it has to do with our purpose. If you're lacking a purpose in life, you're more prone to becoming depressed. And if you lack social connection, or if you lack this essence of belonging, again, you're more prone to depression. And lastly, I would just say, sorry, I have one more. I made a list here, just those main categories.
Okay, while you're thinking about that last one, how does someone get a sense of purpose? Like if they don't have a sense of purpose, how do you create a sense of purpose?
Right.
Because maybe it's like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm here for. I don't know what really lights my soul on fire. How do you do that?
It's like go out into the world and see what interests you. Whether it's people, ways of living, belief systems, interests. Find something that you care about. I know it's really hard when we're depressed to put our energy towards something we care about because we're just not thinking straight. But just go out into the world like a clean slate and just see what you like.
Okay.
Try and identify with something.
Try to identify with something.
Yeah.
And that's a step to take.
Yeah.
That's a big step to take.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So purpose, sense of belonging, and tell me your third one.
It would just be like self-worth, or the way that one views themselves. So if we've constantly been buying into this false belief that we aren't worthy, we aren't capable of much, then we're likely going to get depressed because we've bought into that belief. We began to internalize it. We had a moment to kind of check and distance ourselves from that thought. But the moment we kind of like swallow that thought and it becomes part of who we are, it becomes a lot harder because you've tied that to your identity, your character. And so I would say really analyze your beliefs that are speaking to like your character as a person and your worth.
Okay. And as we talked about in our last episode about anxiety, I'm hearing that as like the stories you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that are just stories in our head.
Yeah.
But it can feel like, oh no, that's real.
Right.
The story becomes real, and then that becomes part of our identity.
Yeah.
When really it's just a story in our head.
Yeah.
Right? And if we can look at it and go, actually, I've been telling myself for so long that I'm not lovable or no one likes to hang out with me. Well, is that real?
Yeah.
Is there evidence behind that? Oh, there might be a situation, but does that mean actually that broad stroke applies across the board? Exactly. Or is that just a story I'm telling myself?
Right. Yeah. Say you fail an exam. You may feel bad about failing an exam, but it has nothing to do with you as a person. There could be a million reasons why you failed the exam. It could be that the exam was prepared in a way you didn't think it would be prepared or asked. Maybe you have test anxiety. Maybe, you were tired. So it's just this idea that life's going to happen to you, but your self-worth isn't always tied to all the outcomes and shortcomings that you make.
Okay, excellent. And the last one that you talked about was the sense of belonging. How do we find a sense of belonging? I know that's huge. Like, who are your people?
Right. When we live in a world that's so digital now too, I think that we have almost this false sense of belonging because, we're all on our phones and we almost feel like we're connected, but it can be harder to do it in real life.
Yes.
To actually speak with people and do activities with people. But I would say it's similar to that idea of finding your purpose. But belonging would be to give of yourself. Before you look to receive like what a group can do for you, what an organization can do for you, find a little bit of hope that you can give of yourself to the world and see if they'll receive you.
That's so good. And that's really hard to do if you're feeling depressed.
Yeah.
Right? What can I give? And because often it's like, there's nothing to give.
It's like, I don't want to do. I don't want to give because I might make the situation worse. But try to get that out of your mind just give something. Whatever you feel like is your strongest trait, try to give that to the world, and someone's going to cling to it. And then you can begin to have that commonality or that shared desire with someone. But play to your strengths and see who's going to receive you and appreciate you.
I love that. Boy, that takes courage.
Definitely.
I mean, it takes a load of courage to get up there and go, okay, I have something to offer here.
Yeah.
And hopefully someone receives it. Hopefully somebody wants it. But again, what I'm hearing is just taking that step. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It takes a moment of great courage, all of those things, right? To say like, I'm going to give of myself here. Mm-hmm. And I'm also going to have some courage, and I'm going to look at the stories I'm telling myself. What is the story I've been telling myself that maybe is adding to this feeling, this depressive state or feeling that I have? And purpose. I want to find more purpose. So I'm going to go out and see what makes me excited or what lights my soul up, even just a little bit. Yeah. What does it look like, right? Yep. Taking those steps. I love that. Janzen, you've shared so many great insights. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing of your own experience as well. Is there anything else that we missed or that you feel like is really important that we need to hit on?
Not really. Just the importance of be real. Be real with the people in your life, those that love you. I promise people care. It's so easy to feel like you have a group around you that doesn't care, but there's going to be at least one person who's ready to listen to you talk about your experience, no matter how bad it is. So just be real. Learn to accept those emotions you're feeling. Learn to accept those hard times. Because we want to be able to recognize, accept, and then speak up.
Recognize, accept, and then speak up.
Yeah.
Such a good
Start
reminder.
There.
Recognize. I think sometimes that is really hard.
Yeah.
We try to mask, we try to numb, we doom scroll, right? Instead of acknowledging, no, I'm not okay.
Right.
Right.
And it's okay to not be okay.
It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Amen. And guess what? All of us are not okay sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Welcome to the world.
Yep.
Yeah. So recognize, speak up. Mm-hmm. And then your third one.
Recognize, accept, and speak up. Recognize,
accept, and then speak up.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Recognize, accept, speak up. That's a really good reminder. So a couple of things I just want to go over is just to take baby steps. Mm-hmm. They might just be turning towards something. Yeah. I loved your idea of like, I emptied the dishwasher. Yeah. I wrote one line in my journal. I got outside today. Just baby steps. It doesn't need to feel big.
It's a win.
And as I think about that, I think, fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
Like you may not feel like it, and it may not feel like it's doing anything. Oh, well, you're taking those baby steps.
Yeah.
Right. Reaching out to friends. I love that reminder. Like you're never alone. I heard that multiple times. Mm-hmm. You're not alone. And to recognize that. Right. Understanding why and where the depression is coming from. That a lack of purpose, a lack of belonging, and a lack of self-worth. And I appreciated the things that you talked about of how going about getting those things. How do we flip the script on that and really try to gain instead of have a weakness in those areas. And again, I think the biggest thing is you're not alone, right? As I'm listening to you and as we talked, I just kept thinking depression is not a sign of weakness. Right. It's just information. It's a signal. There's something off. It's your body maybe asking for care, attention, or healing. And to recognize that, like there's something there going on, and it's not you're broken. Yeah. This is a moment in time, and it might have been a long moment in time, but to recognize that it's not a sign of weakness. I appreciated what you said about men and how it can be even more challenging for a man to admit this. So definitely, really appreciate your insights, appreciate your thoughts. I think this will be an episode that will be useful for so many listeners. So if this is something that you found beneficial for yourself, for those you love, please share it and like and subscribe to our podcast. It helps us get the word out and help spread information about mental health. Until next time, take care.